everyone, in this video we will cover the current affairs. Before we move ahead, let me inform you that these questions are part of our daily 20 MCQ series in GK Today's Academy Android application. So if you are looking for the text version of these questions and their explanations along with the interactive quiz, you may consider joining our daily 20 MCQ series in Academy Android application. So in this app course you get daily 20 MCQs, a fortnightly quiz, a monthly revision document and also category wise revision ebooks which are optimized for reading on your mobile itself. Apart from it, you are also able to access all archives of questions from January 2020 onwards. Please check our Telegram channel. The link is given in the description box. You can subscribe to it if you find it relevant. For hard copy books, you can visit our website gktbooks.com. Okay, so now without wasting any further time, let's get started.
Good morning everyone. Welcome back to GK Today. And today we'll be discussing most important MCQs for 7th of October 2021. Starting with very first question, what is the external debt ratio to GDP of India as of March 2020? So according to the Union Finance Ministry's status report on India's external debt, the India's external debt to GDP ratio has increased marginally to 21.1% from 20.6% as at end of March 2020. So India's external debt has risen by 2.1%, which leads to nearly $570 billion as of March end 2021. And reserves to external debt ratio has increased to 101.2% from earlier 85.6% during the same period. So obviously with this it can be concluded that India is a net creditor to the world and the sovereign debt at $107.2 billion has increased by 6.2%, while the non-sovereign debt has risen by 1.2%, which leads to $462.8 billion. Okay, so these data are not that important, but only thing you have to remember is the external debt ratio to GDP of India is 21.1%. Fine. Now earlier we have seen that the total forex reserve of India has sharply risen to $633 billion in the last week of August 2021. And this is primarily on account of additional 12.57 billion SDR allocation by IMF to India, which is equal to nearly $17.86 billion. Fine. What is IMF? International Monetary Fund. Now you have to tell me two things regarding IMF. Where does the headquarters lie? And which committee recommended to form IMF? Please write in the comments. Now apart from it, recently the Reserve Bank of India has removed Indian Overseas Bank from the PCA framework. What is this? Prompt Corrective Action, and it basically refers to the watch list of weak banks by the RBI, and the regulator imposes restrictions like curbs on lending among others on such banks. Fine. And this bank was placed under this PCA framework in the year 2015. But now on the basis of the published financial results for 2020 to 2021, the Board for Financial Supervision found that the bank has not breached PCA parameters. Fine. Also, as per the recent data from Finance Ministry, GST revenue collected in the month of August was 1,12,000 crore rupees. And the MCAP to GDP ratio of India is now 122 as of 2021. So this basically means that the listed companies in India are worth 122% of India's latest annualized GDP. Okay. So you do not need to go into such terminologies of what is MCAP, what is external debt ratio, etc. Only thing you have to remember is the data here. Fine. Question number 2. Which institution released a report titled as Digital Economy Report 2021? So this report has been released by UNCTAD, means United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, and the report examines the implications of growing cross-border data flows, especially for developing countries, and it proposes to broaden the international policy debate with a view to build multilateral cooperation. And the report also calls for innovative approaches to govern the data and data flows to ensure equitable distribution of the gains from data flows. Fine. Now this organization was also in news because few days back it has projected India's growth rate to hit a 4-year high of 7.2% for the year 2021. And at this rate, India would be the fastest growing economy after China, which is proposed to grow by 8.3%. Now, a few days back, OECD has released India's economic projections for financial year 2021 to 2022, which has been estimated at 9.7%, which is 0.2% less than its earlier forecast. And China's economy is expected to grow by 8.5% in the year 2021. You have to tell me two things regarding OECD. What is the full form and where does the headquarters lie? Question number 3. What is the theme of the International Day of Older Persons 2021? So first of all, this day is celebrated every year on 1st of October. And the aim is to spread awareness about the need for health facilities and social care for elderly people. And the theme for this year was Digital Equity for All Ages, which basically highlights the need for access and participation in the digital world by older people. Now apart from it, few days back we have seen that Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment has launched India's first pan-India helpline for senior citizens named as Elder Line, for which the toll-free number is 14567. So this platform will allow the senior citizens to connect and share their concerns, get information and guidance on problems that they face on a daily basis. Then apart from it, we celebrate World Maritime Day on 30th of September, and theme for this year was Seafarers at the core of shipping's future. Then International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste Reduction is observed on 29th of September, and the theme for this year was Stop Food Loss and Waste for the people, for the planet. Now you have to tell me, when do we observe World Senior Citizen Day? Let me give you a hint as well. It comes in the month of August. Please write your answers in the comment section. Question number 4. Prashasan Gaon Ke Sang is an initiative of which Indian state or union territory? So this has been launched by the state government of Rajasthan, and it aims to enable access to 22 departments of the local administration for the people of remote villages in the state. So basically under the campaign, the departments would hold camps at every Gram Panchayat to offer on-spot solutions to the applicants. And the camps in villages would be held under the observation of respective district collectors on weekdays, and the services which are related to land deeds and issuance of various certificates are also done. Okay. Then apart from it, AU Small Finance Bank has inked a memorandum of understanding with NABARD for rural development initiatives in the state of Rajasthan, and this MOU involves initiatives by these organizations for benefit of farmers. So it will also increase lending in the state, especially in areas which are related to agriculture and rural development. Fine. Also recently, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated CPET, Institute of Petrochemicals Technology in Jaipur, through video conferencing. Also, Rajasthan's new marriage bill says that bride and groom can apply for registration of marriage to the marriage registration offices of the place where they have been residing for more than 30 days. And hence this way, Chief Minister of Rajasthan Ashok Gehlot has passed Rajasthan Compulsory Registration of Marriages Amendment Bill 2021. Now can you tell me, the Central Institute of Fisheries Technology is located in which state or union territory? So it is located in Kerala, and it is in news these days because recently it has developed a fertilizer and pet supplement from shrimp shell. And this institute has also tied up with a Kolkata based company to commercialize the technology. Okay, so important thing is that this institute lies in Kerala. Question number 5. Nata Sankirtan is a UNESCO recognized festival of dance and music held in which Indian state? So this is organized in Manipur, and this year this 3-day festival was recently inaugurated from the capital Imphal. Actually, this Nata Sankirtan was introduced during the reign of Bhagya Chandra and recognized as intangible cultural heritage by UNESCO in 2013 for its uniqueness. So this year, artists from different organizations of Nat Sankirtan and many eminent personalities attended the occasion. Okay. Now, 1 or 2 months back, Manipur had launched COVID-19 affected livelihood support scheme. Why? To provide assistance to those who have been severely affected by COVID-19 pandemic there in the state. Now, talking about UNESCO, in the state of Madhya Pradesh, cities of Orchha and Gwalior have been selected by UNESCO under Historic Urban Landscape Project. Also, do remember that Madhya Pradesh has become the second state in the country to implement national education policy after the state Karnataka. Then India's cleanest city Indore was also in news because it has now been declared as India's first water plus city under Swachh Sarvekshan 2021. Can you tell me which is India's second water plus city? Please write in the comment section. Question number 6. National Research Center on Yak is located in which state or union territory? First of all, why this center is in news? Because recently NABARD, that is the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, has approved a credit plan for yaks, and this scheme was developed by National Research Center on Yak, which lies at Dirang in Arunachal Pradesh. And do remember that this center functions under Indian Council of Agricultural Research. Earlier, a scheme was announced to ensure the Himalayan yaks against the impact of climate change, and this high altitude animal yak is also referred to as mountain cattle. Now, Arunachal Pradesh was in news for 2 of its schemes. First is Atmanirbhar Krishi Yojana, which is related to agriculture, and second is Atmanirbhar Bagwani Yojana, which is related to horticulture. So these schemes have been launched by Arunachal Pradesh, and the government has allocated 120 crore rupees for these 2 schemes. Okay. Then few days back, Union Ayush Ministry has launched a campaign named as Ayush Aapke Dwar, and the aim is to distribute medicinal plant saplings to 75 lakh households in 1 year. Fine. Also, few days back, the Gujarat government has launched Vatan Prem Yojana to modify the rural areas with the help of NRI funds. And not only this, the Niti Aayog and Gujarat University have signed a statement of intent to promote cooperation in agriculture. So the SOI focuses on technical collaboration between the 2 institutions with the aim to strengthen knowledge sharing and policy development in India. Okay. Question number 7. Which Indian is one among the 2021 Yedan Prize awardees? Actually, this prize is an educational award that recognizes individuals or teams or anyone who have contributed significantly to the education research and development. So the Yedan Prize Foundation have awarded India-based Dr. Rukmani Banerjee and US-based Professor Eric Hanushek the prestigious Yedan Prize 2021. So total of 9 laureates have been awarded the Yedan Prize since its inception in the year 2016. And talking about Dr. Rukmani, she is the Chief Executive Officer of Pratham Education Foundation, and she has been awarded for her work in improving learning outcomes. Okay, so both the names are quite important. Then apart from it, Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Prize for the year 2021 have been announced recently, and every year the award is presented to scientists who have shown outstanding capability and contributed in the field of science and technology. So do remember that this particular prize is related to science. And the award is named after the founder director of Council of Scientific Industrial Research India, late Dr. Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar. And the prizes are awarded to scientists below 45 years of age for their research in one of the 7 disciplines, including biological sciences, physical sciences, engineering sciences, among others. Fine. Now apart from it, the Global Leadership Award 2021 has been given to Shiv Nadar. Then the 2021 Right Livelihood Award has been given to the Indian organization LIFE. You have to tell me what does the LIFE stands for. Then Phumzile Lambo has been conferred with Global Goalkeeper Award 2021. And the 2021 Changemaker Award has been given to Feroz Faiza, who belongs to Bangladesh. Okay. Question number 8. Digi Saksham program, which was making news recently, was launched by which union ministry? So the Union Labour and Employment Minister Bhupendra Yadav has announced a collaboration with Microsoft India to launch this Digi Saksham program. So now through this program, 10 million active registered job seekers will be able to access the training, including computing and computer science training on the National Career Service portal. So the program is aimed to impact 3 lakh job seekers in the first year by training them in subjects like programming languages, data analytics, software development, etc. Okay. Now apart from it, recently Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched the Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0 and Amrut 2.0 means Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, and these schemes would be implemented by Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs like their previous versions. So talking about Swachh Bharat Mission Urban 2.0, it is dedicated to make all the cities garbage free and ensure grey and black water management in all the cities. So the outlay of this particular scheme is around 1.41 lakh crore rupees. And talking about this particular scheme, Amrut 2.0, it aims to provide 100% coverage of water supply to all the households in around 4,700 urban local bodies and 100% coverage of sewerage and septage in 500 Amrut cities. Okay. Now apart from it, recently Home Minister Amit Shah has released the training manual of Apada Mitra scheme and planned documents of Apada Mitra and common protocols. Now you have to tell me what is the new name of National Midday Meal Scheme. We have already talked about it in the previous lectures. Please write in the comments. Question number 9. Which institution released the report titled as Best Practices in the Performance of District Hospitals? So Niti Aayog has recently released a performance assessment report of district hospitals in India titled as Best Practices in the Performance of District Hospitals. So this report is made in collaboration with Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and World Health Organization India. So this particular assessment framework covers 10 key performance indicators and a total of 707 district hospitals across all the states and union territories that are participated in the assessment. And the Health Management Information System data for the year 2017 to 18 was used as a baseline. Then apart from it, Niti Aayog has also partnered with a US-based Rocky Mountain Institute. Why? To launch the Shunya campaign, which is basically an initiative to promote zero pollution delivery vehicles by working with consumers and industries. And the campaign aims to accelerate adoption of electric vehicles in the urban deliveries segment and create consumer awareness about the benefits of zero pollution delivery. Now coming to last question, who is the head of the expert group on minimum wages and national floor wages? So the expert group on minimum wages and national floor wages has been reconstituted under economist and statistician S.P. Mukherjee. So he replaces the previous head Ajit Mishra, and the group has been constituted for a term of 3 years. As we know that the Labour Code on Wages 2019 gives legislative protection of minimum wages to all the workers, and the Satpathy-led panel had suggested a national minimum wage of 375 rupees per day, or you can say 9,750 rupees per month, irrespective of sectors, skills, occupations and rural-urban locations. Now apart from it, Mr. Sanjay Bhargav is to head Starlink satellite broadband venture in India. Then Mr. Alok Sahai has been appointed as Secretary General of Indian Steel Association, and B.C. Patnaik takes charge as MD of LIC, while NSDL has appointed Padmaja Chundru as MD and CEO. Fine. Now let's start with today's quiz. Here on the slide you can see 5 questions which have been taken from the past 2-3 days current affairs. Pause the video and try to solve each of these questions, and at the end of the lecture do not forget to share your scores in the comment section. So please be honest and do not cheat with yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you have liked the session. These were the important news and events from today, and we will meet again tomorrow with some more important current affairs. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching, and please do not forget to subscribe to GK Today. With this, me Nuzhat Sana signing off.